hello you, and welcome again to the upgrade. We have a truly great show for you today. Something special, something a little bit different coming up. Before we get started, we want to say you're looking great with that new post-COVID haircut. You really look terrific. We're going to have a secret word coming up for you as usual towards the end. Three chances to win in our monthly $1,000 draw of crazy electronics from Samsung and Apple and MAGFAST, all the big brands. Plus, you may remember last week we set up a little sort of bonus competition to give away three extremes. There it is in the beautiful box. Three MAGFAST Extremes with the jumper cable in return for guessing how many times Rich in his garage was able to jumpstart. We're going to come to that in just a second. We'll announce those three winners towards the end. Underneath me right now, if you're joining us at magfast.com, there's the buttons. Please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on the Twitter, and join us on LinkedIn as well, so we can keep the conversation going. And as I think I mentioned the other week, we're doing some work on taking our social stuff to the next level, and we'd love you to obviously we'd love it if you stay with us, but we'd love to get your feedback as we start to ramp that up. Okay, so this week we thought we'd do a sort of full follow-on to last week when I was talking about this experiment. Now, Extreme, all of the products, as you know, they've taken a good long time to get right, and that involves all kinds of so when the products are initially built, they're built inside the computer, just like a modern automobile or an aircraft. They can be tested, within the computer before they're built, and then they're built and the circuits are tested. So there's a lot of testing. But a couple of weeks ago, Rich, who is Kate's dad, and Kate will be joining us in just a second, who's Kate's dad, and who is an engineer, who's been an engineer for years, decided for fun to take the battery from Extreme into the garage and to test it and see how well it would get on. So Extreme itself, as you know, let's get it out of the box here, out of the beautiful box. Boom, boom, boom. We showed you some of the collateral last week, didn't we? There it all is. Okay, so here's Extreme. It's got a lovely, it just feels so great in your hand. A lovely weight to it. It's the world's first power bank with 1, 2, 3 Qi wireless charging zones. So it's super versatile. You've got all the USB-A on 2 on this end, 1 on that end, USB-C on this end and on this end, and the big 12-volt outlet into which you plug the jumper cables. So how powerful is this battery? Well, as you know, you can use the jumper cables I just showed you to jump start your car. Let's get from a remote location, from a secret undisclosed location in Austin, Texas. Let's bring in Kate and her dad, Rich, live on the upgrade from the garage. Hey, Katie.
Hi everyone. This is my dad.
Who's that? Who's that behind you?
It's my dad.
It's Daddy.
Very good. Welcome. Rich, this is Rich's debut. On a camera of any kind. Nobody has ever seen him on the internet before. So welcome, Rich. And before we start, that doesn't seem to me like an approved company logo on the hat. What is the hat that you're wearing there?
Yeah, I actually owned and operated a full-service automotive garage about 3 decades ago. And so this is my old Warwick Automotive hat.
Very good. All right. So so you're a guy who's known cars for decades and electronics nearly as long, right? Because you started out as a pure electrical engineer and have become Rich is a very seasoned startup executive. So we've been very lucky to have him with us for several years now. The only thing we've been luckier is that his daughter joined us at around the same time. Okay, so let's talk through what we did. The experiment that we told folks about last week was the battery connected to this truck, which is a hair bigger than we actually say up to 5 liters. This is a hair bigger than 5 liters, right? Actually, just tell us what have we got there? Is it an F-150 or something? What do you got there?
Yeah, this is actually a Ford Expedition, a 5.4 liter, which is the exact same as an F-150 truck. And so it's a very large engine, and it's also a very large battery. So it's 1,000 cranking amp battery in this truck. So it's
all right.
Definitely an extra an extreme case for extreme.
So it's an extreme test for extreme. Again, in our specifications, we say up to 5 liters, but we always like to sort of go a little further in our testing. And let's back in the control room, Sharon. I love this layout here because folks will be much more interested to see Rich and Kate in that truck than me sitting here yet again this week. So it's also a favorite older truck of yours, right? This isn't this is how old now?
This truck is
'04.
04. I bought it in 03, so it's quite old.
So it's kind of 18 years old.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to make an easy test, you'd have a newer vehicle with a smaller engine. We've got an older one with a larger engine. I just wanted to make that point.
It has over 200,000 miles on it.
All right. So let's talk about the new test that you've just done, and then we'll reveal the winners on the old test we spoke about last week. So take it away and explain a little bit about this difference between connecting and disconnecting the battery.
Okay. All right. So, and you've probably seen tests out there on the internet where people take jump start batteries and they jump start cars. And there's 2 different types of tests you can do. One is you can completely disconnect the battery out of the circuit, which means you take the battery cable off. So the battery is no longer connected. And to be connected, it has to be connected on both sides. So you disconnect one, and then you hook your jump starter battery across the 2 cables. And that way, 100% of the cranking energy is actually coming out of your jump start battery, in our case, Extreme. And you'll see out there on the internet where there's people doing that. And we do that to see how many times we can actually crank. We'll announce how many that is later on. I have seen in other videos that they cranked up to like 20 cars by doing that.
Yep.
Another thing to notice in those videos that the dongle itself, can you hand me the dongle? In those other videos, you're going to see they'll have cars all lined up and they'll have the dongles already battery, and they just take their battery and their jump start battery and they go from car to car to car. What you don't realize is they're removing from the circuit the thing that actually is going to overheat if it's not high quality. And so when we did the initial tests on that a long time ago, the dongle actually, if you cranked it repeatedly, it actually just melted. It just completely melted.
I want to emphasize this was a previous model of dongle that we rejected.
That's right. Early case. Yeah. And so we went to a much more heavy duty. So we're not swapping out dongles because that's the thing that you can. So in our jump start test, we always use the exact same dongle the whole time, and we're doing a torture test with it, and we're not letting it cool down in our test like you're supposed to do that come with the instructions. And so that's one test. The other test is the battery in the circuit. This is more typical where you left your car lights on overnight or something like that accidentally, and it's completely just stone dead. And you may be at a location where you can't disconnect this battery cable. You don't have a tool to do it or whatever, and so you're just going to leave it in. You're just literally just going to put the jumper cable right onto the battery and then hook the Extreme up to it. Well, the difference in that case is the battery is going to be sucking the energy out of your jump start battery. At the same time, it's trying to crank the engine, which is taking it to 500 amps out of the jump start battery. So those are the 2 differences. And the question is, how many times could it crank the truck even with the very, very dead, very large 1,000 cranking amp battery still in the circuit? And that was the last test. We've done 2 of those torture tests.
Let me see if I can summarize what you just said, and you can correct me if I misspeak. I like to think about it like this: there's kind of an unfair test and a fair test. There's like a laboratory test and an everyday test. The unfair test, the laboratory test, is you disconnect the car battery, the vehicle battery, the truck battery, right? That's completely disconnected. It's just Extreme connected to jumpstart the truck engine. Well, you'd think that would be harder because the vehicle battery isn't there. But it's actually an easier test because all the power from Extreme can go to jump starting the vehicle. that was what we asked you to guess the results of, and we're going to come to in a couple of minutes. The test that Rich is going to talk about now is the harder test that often people don't do when you see demonstrations online, right? Which is where we attach Extreme as you would on a dark, rainy night when you need to jumpstart your car and some idiot left the lights on. Okay, you're just going to go directly onto the battery, and immediately you connect to the battery. Extreme is going to have it doesn't want to. It's going to have two jobs to do, because as soon as you connect it to your dead battery, power is going to flow from Extreme into your dead battery, which wants to soak it up like crazy at exactly the time that you need all that power to please go ahead and jumpstart your car. So we're doing this much more difficult test right now. Was that a fair summary?
That's it, yeah. So the dead battery is going to be trying to pull hundreds of amps out of your Extreme battery. At the same time, your engine's going to want to pull 500 amps to try to crank it.
All right. So what happened?
Well, what happened was, just my gut feel is that I don't know if it's even going to do it one time, to be honest with you. And so I was a little bit scared.
Yeah, and let's just calibrate this for folks. We knew from the numbers that it was going to work, and I mean the numbers said it's going to work. It's going to work kind of several times. You're going to be fine. But Rich has been an automotive engineer for 30 years, and he was. I mean, I remember at the time, it's like I was pretty nervous going in for this test. So I
apologize for the untimely.
Mowing the lawn. Someone's mowing.
Some lawn service just showed up to our next door neighbor and started mowing. So, anyway.
We have a checklist before we start the show each week, and it's kind of like, are the curtains out, are the doors closed, is the air conditioning off, and it's actually on the checklist, is anybody mowing the lawn? But of course that doesn't stop them arriving while we're in midstream. So.
So loud.
Man, this is so annoying. Okay. Hopefully you can still hear us.
Talk loudly.
Just right. as loud as you can, because it is actually, it's quietening you down a bit. So nice and loud, please, Rich.
Okay. All right. So we ran the test, and it cranked it, and we repeated the test over and over, and it actually cranked it 21 times with the battery.
21.
And the wires, because I was not letting it cool. In real life, you're going to need to crank it 3 times, disconnect the dongle from Extreme, let it cool for about 3 minutes, and then you can crank it 3 more times, and that should cover pretty much any case you're ever going to do. But I just left it, and I just kept cranking, and we cranked it 21 times, and the wires are size big enough, all of this is size big enough that it was still plenty fine, nothing overheated. So the design is definitely overkill big time.
Yeah.
Very safe.
And that's on when you want to jumpstart your car. Most of the time, it's just going to be the best charger you've ever had for keeping the family going with 3 simultaneous Qi charging, whatever. I have this theory that people are going to take this when, as we all come back out from hiding after COVID, people are going to take this with them to kind of conferences and so on. They're going to put it down on the conference table in front of them. They'll put their phone on it. And then the people who are sitting next to them at the conference, I said, "Do you need a charge too? You want to just pop on here? What about you? You want to go on?" And people will be able to share. So marriages, people will fall in love and marry because they will meet over an Extreme in the future. That's my prediction. I guess when that happens, you'll hear about it first on The Upgrade, your weekly news show from MAGFAST. All right, so 21 in total. We have footage of that, but it wasn't shot kind of for broadcast. It was just like a kind of record of it. I guess we'll put that up someplace and give a link to it. It doesn't. I mean, it's not terribly interesting because it takes a long time because you do a start right and then it cools a little bit and then you start and then it cools. So it takes a while to watch. But 21 truly kind of. I mean, here's the thing that's most surprising to me about it, Rich, is that I mean, you and I have been working on this for years. I studied. I studied engineering years ago at a decent university. You've been an electrical engineer and a car kind of whiz for decades and decades. And we were both surprised at how good it was, right? It's truly kind of truly amazing. Kate, you've been uncommonly quiet while all this has been going on. What do you think?
I'm sorry, it's just so loud here. I can barely hear anything that's going on because they're mowing basically up. Sorry about that.
All right. Well, at least you know it's real, everybody.
Yes.
All right. Now, we said battery connected. This means that for most people, this is a 5.4 liter older truck. Most people will probably have a slightly younger vehicle on average. I think this is older. Yours is older than the average vehicle there, Rich, right? Therefore, maybe a little tougher to crank. But people will have, I think the average is a 2 liter or a 1.8 liter is the kind of average engine size for most folks.
2 or 3 times the number of cranks.
Yeah. I mean, we'll do that measurement soon, but I think the answer is you're going to be fine. It is, however, your job to make sure that you keep your Extreme topped up so that when you need it, it is ready. That is not something that we can do for you. All right. Well, I think we should see if we have some the names of the winners. Have you got them there? Can you see them, Kate? I have them up here. Shall I read them?
Yeah, you can do it.
I'll do it. All right. So, drum roll. You know what? We said that we would do like the closest 3, like, or the first 3 who were closest or whatever, and you just had to trust us. It turns out that we can't do, well, we could do 3. We're actually going to do 4 because 4 people guessed exactly right. Okay. They guessed exactly right, the exact number of jump starts. This was in the vehicle battery disconnected test with Extreme, right there with Rich in his garage on the same truck, and the answer was 75. 75. All right. So congratulations go to Dora Adkins. Hello, Dora. Well done.
Hey.
Colleen Atkinson. Excellent. Greg Lilly. It wasn't all the ladies. Greg Lilly got it just right. And so did Jim MacDonald. You know who you are. Dora, Colleen, Greg, and Jim. Kate will be in touch with you shortly, and you will be among the first to celebrate this with your MAGFAST Extreme and jumper cable set. In addition, because I'm sure you all placed large orders at a separate time, so we'll be adding those to your orders. All right, terrific. Anything else from our live remote by satellite location?
Well, it appears that they just finished mowing.
Great. Excellent. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Kate, we'll have you back in the home studio next week. Thank you, Rich. Fantastic. We should have had you on a long time ago. Brilliant having you with us. Thank you at home. Oh, this week's secret word I should say for you is great power, because with great power, MAGFAST Extreme, great, as you've just seen, great power. With great power comes great responsibility. This week's secret word is great power. Please go to magfast.com/fun, magfast.com/fun. Enter great power, that's great space power, great power, for 3 more chances to win in this month's $1,000 draw. Okay, so congratulations to all of our prize winners. Remember, we love you. We love to hear from you. You can email us hello@magfast.com, tweet us at getmagfast, we're on YouTube, youtube.com/magfast, and we're always charging for good on your desktop, your tablet, your smartphone, and beyond at magfast.com.